Hello and welcome. Good morning. I want to make sure that we have audio. It's been a little bit of a morning filled with technical issues, so I apologize. You may have been bombarded with notifications. That was not my intention. If you weren't, great. If you were, I'm sorry. Let me check my audio. Okay, that sounds awesome. I also switched out my mic on this setup the other day, which I do normally, but this is the Earthworks Ethos. Which I really, really love. It's a condenser mic, and it sounds awesome, and it's super clean and wonderful. So that's what we're jumping into today. I'm laughing, and if I seem a little bit like disheveled, I don't know if I can show you this. There's see all this stuff over here. This was originally what we were supposed to be doing. I have like four cameras, 4 or 5 cameras set up. We're going to be this awesome stream, and then something with our network here just took a poo-poo, and everything stopped working. Because, of course, even though I set everything up and tested it yesterday, it didn't matter. So, unfortunately, I had all this cool stuff that I was going to show, but it's okay because we can just hang out and chat. I really wanted to do a stream. I was all ready. So even though we can't do it to the full level that I was expecting today, maybe it's for the best. What's up, Istanbul, Omer, or is it YOLO Cam? It was supposed to be. I can hop over here and show you. If we go to not the tiny. Let's go to the OBSBot. This camera's wireless, so there's going to be a little bit of lag here, but I can use this to show you the setup that I had. I have my YOLO Box Extreme here, and I have all these cameras set up. So I was using, what I was going to use for that was going to be this camera here, which is the YOLO Cam S7. It looks fantastic. Oops, sorry, I'm not a good PTZ cinematographer at the moment. So the YOLO Cam S7, that's a cool one. And then this is also a bit delayed, so I'm a little struggling there. And then here, this is the YOLO Cam S3, which is really, really fun. Then we had here, this is the eMeet Pixie. Then we've got the Sony FX3. We had all these really cool options. We got the OBSBot Tiny 3 over here. And then this is my Canon EOS R. So I had this whole stream set up, and it was going to be like really, really fun. And I set it all up, and I tested everything out. I did like an unlisted private stream yesterday. Everything's working great. Got everything set up this morning. Hit go. And for some reason, like our network is just not having it this morning. It was zero network connectivity going on. I have no idea why, which is a huge bummer because it was going to be so fun, because there's a huge YOLO Box update which lets you do so many cool things in terms of like there's like a viewer map that you can add. There's all this really cool chat stuff. There's all these really cool graphics. There's better replays. There's, obviously better switching, camera adjustments, all this really fun stuff. So I was excited to share that. We'll just have to do that on another day, I suppose, which is fine, because what's nice about this setup, and see, this kind of goes to show exactly why I think this is an important setup. Let me go back over here to the tail too. So I set things up over there, all these different cameras, all this stuff, and things happen, good, bad, right, or wrong. This camera, this computer, this setup never changes, except for the microphone. So, I change out the microphone pretty often. But having this here, it's always ready to go. It's easy. I have my OBS stuff all preset. And this is a very good example why. Sometimes it's nice to you just want to stream and you don't want to like set things up. Cool. You don't have to do anything. You need to do a video call. You want to record a podcast episode or whatever. Everything is here ready to go. Other times, if everything decides to just not work, I have my tried and true situation right here. And that's very, very nice. So the nice part about that is it's an easy setup because it's always here. So that means the stream gets to be a little bit chill, which is fun. So appreciate everyone being here. Again, sorry if you got bombarded with notifications on your Saturday morning. That was not my intention. Michael's asking, how do you feel about Lumix cameras? Thinking of getting the S5 IIX or the S1 II for content creation? Tired of waiting for the FX3 Mark II. I've actually never used a Lumix camera outside of going to B&H and like trying them out at the camera counter at B&H. They are very popular. It seems like everyone who has a Lumix really likes it. And I like the way that they look and feel. I mean, like physically the design. They're kind of chunkier cameras. They got lots of buttons and dials and things. I really like that. So that's it. I've never had one. I've never used one. I've never tried one out. It's interesting though with I'm not up on their specs. So I'm speaking out of full ignorance here, more so than usual. When thinking about the FX3 Mark II, which like it is not an unreasonable thing to think that after 6 years, there's got to be something around the corner. But the original FX3 it still kind of works great and crushes it. So spec wise, here's the thing to do, and this is what I did when I ended up switching to Sony 5+ years ago, is literally just like get a piece of paper and write out the non-negotiable things that you need in a camera. Don't go for like flash in the pan features like, oh, this says it has like an AI tracking or whatever. Like, go for the things you really need. For me at the time, back in 2020, 2021, it was I wanted full frame 4K with no overheating. I wanted built-in stabilization. I wanted really, really good autofocus for people and faces and stuff. Those were honestly really the big ones. Oh, I wanted full HDMI out as well. Clean HDMI out. Those are pretty standard now. I think basically any camera is going to provide you with that stuff now. But back then that was not the case. And so I think there were other things I wanted, like nice to have things, but those were kind of my non-negotiables. And then it was literally just going through all the cameras. What does Canon, Sony, Lumix, Blackmagic, what does everybody have to offer? Sony at the time was the only one that actually had that, and that was the A7S III. So that's what I would recommend doing. Like, not so much thinking of like, oh, there's this model, but this is older and there might be a new one, and then this, these are updated or whatever. Look at what you actually need, and then whichever system gives you that, that's the one to go for, I think. If it's within your budget, of course. That's important. Comic Read says, the OBSBot has been a nice camera I've come to love. I like to hook it up with another camera on the PC and do my studio recording through my Stream Deck, but my iMac is dying. I'm sorry about your iMac, but I'm happy about your OBSBot. The OBSBot cameras are great, and if you want to go right into that, like, prosumer to professional webcam PTZ type workflow, they're just so good. And they just, I don't know that I've never had an OBSBot like fail or stop working or die or anything. And they are used a lot. I use them all the time, and they're great. And I have my Tail 2 over here. The Tail 2 is, this is over wireless NDI, so I don't know, especially with all the network stuff happening today. The image looks smooth-ish, but I'm sure that there's some lag happening there, but at least you can see things. So if I like having that camera there. Let me see if I can use NDI on my phone. Why not make this more complex? So I have the NDI X camera app. I can turn that on here, and I think I should be able, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so now you can see my setup here, but over here I have the OBSBot Tail 2. I've just had it mounted to this auto pole, and it's just kind of like an all-in-one studio camera. And then, wow, this is cool. Sorry, I turned on, look at this. Now see how shaky this is? I realized the NDI app has a built-in stabilization option, which I think adds some lag, but right now you don't see me. Let me turn off the, yeah, I don't want the phone mic. So that's pretty cool. So here's all the cameras I was going to use today that I'm not using, and then the OBSBot up there, and then I've got my prompter with my Canon EOS R, and then over here is my little OBSBot Tiny 3, which is kind of, right now it looks like it's in a jungle a little bit. So hopefully that didn't do anything weird with the audio, but yeah, so I love having the OBSBot over there as kind of like a studio, not a studio camera, but like an overview camera, because what's really helpful is if I'm sitting here streaming and someone asks a question like, hey, I don't know, what's your computer? What's your audio thing? And I don't have a camera that shows it. I can just use the remote and, kind of hone in on things around the room. And I think even last time someone was asking about one of the pictures on the wall, I was able to be like, boom, that picture right there. Chris, what's up? I'm doing good. How are you doing? Does the OBSBot connect via NDI? The Tail 2 does. And the Tail Air does as well, which is pretty cool. Friday Pizza Day, best day. That was yesterday. And Actually, I had McDonald's yesterday. I didn't have pizza, but close enough. Gil, what's up, Gil? How's it going? Andy's here. Big APS-C user and didn't realize I was missing out on a zoom lens. Oh yeah, just got the Sigma 17 to 40 1.8 and the background blur is top tier. Yeah, Sigma zooms, especially the fact that you can do like a 1.8 zoom, is pretty phenomenal because it basically means that you have a 17 to 40 prime lens. And I know it doesn't because it's a zoom lens, but because it's a constant f1.8 aperture, whether you're at 17, whether you're at 40, it's essentially the image quality of a prime lens. Typically, zoom lenses are either, like my zooms that I have, the 24 to 70, 16 to 35, 70 to 200, they're all 2.8. So they're great. 2.8 is awesome. It's not 1.8. And then other zoom lenses will they might start, I don't know, 2.8, 2.0, whatever, but then you zoom in and it goes to f4.5, f5. It's like a variable aperture, and that's not as fun. What's up, Yukin? Happy birthday tomorrow. Hope you have a good one. Your tomorrow is much quicker than my tomorrow because of time zones, so that means it's going to be your birthday sooner where you are than it is where I'm at, which is cool. What would you say the best lens for Canon for close-up shots like I'm shooting now? Well, the lens I'm using right now is a Canon 35mm 2.0. f2.0. And it's on the Canon EOS R. So this is a full frame camera with a 35mm lens, and it is, arm's length, a little bit past arm's length away from me. And this is what that shot looks like. So yeah, I wanted, back when the EOS R was my main camera, I always wanted, or even prior to that, I always wanted the Canon 35 1.4. That had been like a dream lens, but it was just never within my budget. And then, oh man, this was a while ago. Back in 2015, I was in Louisville, Kentucky for like a school trip with some students, and I went to a camera store there, and they had the 35 2.0 for a really good price. So I got this. This is my Kentucky lens, and it's been great. It's still great. So I use it over here a lot, and it was $1,000 cheaper than the 35 1.4, at least $1,000 at the time. So. And I still actually don't have a 35 1.4. I wanted, when I jumped into the world of full frame cameras, I really wanted a 35mm lens because there's just something about 35mm on a full frame sensor that just things look so natural, and it just feels like that is like the not the golden ratio, but kind of like the perfect ratio for like camera sensor, lens, all that kind of stuff, especially if you want to. I was like leaning more into photography at the time. It just was a thing that I really wanted. I still don't have one. I ended up getting my 24 1.4, and that has kind of, I have like a 16 to 35 2.8. Got this one. So anyway, this is 35, and this will give you this kind of shot here. It's a good lens. I mean, it's not like a brand new lens. This is an EF lens, so I am using the EF to RF adapter so that it works on the EOS R. I'm not sure what the RF equivalent is, especially in terms of price, probably more expensive. I do have the RF 50 1.8, which is not a terribly expensive lens, and it looks awesome. I love that lens, but I would have to have the camera much further away, so it wouldn't be great for like a desk camera shot like this on a full frame thing. Looking to upgrade from my Logitech, but I'm kind of clueless. Not a problem. I would say, or I'd be curious to know where your Logitech is falling short. Like, which Logitech do you have and what don't you like about it? So what do you want in a new camera? Like, are you more interested in image quality? Are you looking to add things like PTZ tracking and positioning functionality? Do you just want super clear 4K? Like, is your current camera a 1080 camera and you want to move into 4K? What's your budget? All that kind of stuff. The good news is there's so many good cameras now at affordable prices. And the video that I put out 2 days ago is about the eMeet Pixies series. And I had one that I was going to set up, which I could actually probably pretty easily plug this in. Let's do that, actually. So yeah, so here's the OBSBot Tiny 3. This camera's awesome. This is like a super high quality, super tiny PTZ camera. So it's not tracking right now, but I can move it and track it and do all the fun things like that, which is pretty cool. But I think it's $300. Let's go to the Tail 2, and why not hop in? Here's the, oh, you probably can't hear me as well. That's okay. Boop. Okay. Oh, this is going to be sort of an awkward angle, but that's okay. All right, we're going to bump in the eMeet Pixie. I hope, I'm not 100% sure if this USB port on my computer works well. Let's see. Doop-a-da-boop. Not sure if we can get that going there. I just wanted to show you this one, but it might not be ideal for this. Oh, nope, it's working. Hello. It's not the best lighting situation here, but there we go. Boop-a-da-boop. I'm not using the software, so it's tracking. But this is an $89 currently webcam. Shoots in 4K, has PTZ tracking and everything. I could open up eMeet Studio. That's probably what I should do. And then I can show you how that works. But what's cool about it... Oh, you know what? Let's use NDI. Let's just continue making things complex here. Let's pop back over to the phone if we can. Doop-a-doop-boop. We're going to get our phone. There's our phone. Sort of. Where did it go? Did I stop? There we go. So what's cool about this camera is it doesn't just do tracking through the lens. It actually has one lens, or one camera is for images, and the other one is specifically for tracking. And it's, you know, it's bigger than, like, here's the OBSBot Tiny 3, super tiny. And this one is bigger, but this one is also 1/3 the price. So that's, you know, that's pretty cool, I think. Hopefully you were able to see all that, and boop, that's what it looks like. So there's that. Let's see here. I thought I opened up the eMeet software, and let's pop that in. Now we can turn on the tracking. There we go. So that's what's nice about tracking cameras, is this has gesture control, but I didn't turn that on because I tend to mess up with my gestures. But if I get up and I go over here, the camera can follow me. So depending on what kind of streams and what kind of stuff you're doing, you know, tracking is super, super helpful to have. It's a fun thing. Back over here. Okay. So anyway, those options. That's an $89 camera. Then there's stuff like the... Well, why not just plug this one in? Let's see. Because then there's stuff like this. Sorry, eMeet, I'm going to unplug you. This is the YOLO Cam S3. This is $200. It does not have PTZ. It's just a little webcam here. Let's see how this looks, if I can find it. Where do we go? Oh, do I not have enough power through that? I should. What are we doing? I might actually need... Oh, no. There we go. Okay. I just had to play around for a second. I think this needs more power than that port has to offer. So let's see. That's no problem. Ow. All right. Sorry, OBSBot. I'm going to take your cable. That should give me enough power. All right, looks like camera's booting up. Let's see. Boom. Okay, I think now we have a picture-in-picture. Not sure why I have that set up that way. Let's make this bigger. So here's the YOLO Cam. Now I had this set up for different settings for a thing here. Let me play with the colors on this to kind of give you the full effect. So I have to open up the OBSBot software. Boop. And there's the camera. Doop-a-doop. Video settings, image settings. Let's jump into exposure. We'll just throw it on auto exposure, and that should... Ooh, that made it darker. Boop, 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 boop. White balance. Oh, maybe white balance is... There we go. Let's play with that a little bit here. Boom. Okay. So, there we go. This is just sort of sitting here. But this is a $200 webcam. And this one, again, no PTZ tracking or anything. But for me, sorry, I'm like, it's not supposed to be a handheld vlog camera. To me, just in terms of straight up image quality, especially $200 and under, this is the best option. Because this, like, to me, this looks insanely good, especially for such an affordable camera and such a simple, just a USB webcam. It looks awesome. Doesn't have PTZ functionality or any of that, but oh, hi, there we go. That's my awkward way of holding the camera. But otherwise, I think that's pretty good. So anyway, I kind of went on a tangent there, but that's okay. That's why this stuff is fun. So going back to, what was the question? The question about the Logitech. If any of those seemed interesting or you got other questions, we can keep talking more. Michael says, I'm using OBS, or I know he knows I use OBS, but Prism Live is amazing. Open source, tons of plugins. Oh, that sounds cool. I just, like outside of Ecamm, which is my main thing that I use on my Mac, OBS was the thing that I was most familiar with. So when I got my PC and started streaming here, it was just like, obviously OBS. But I'm totally down to try other things as well. I just ended up really liking OBS. And also, I see my audio meters doing a thing over here. Let me just check it. Oh, that's pretty good. Hello, test, test. Oh, that's probably way too loud. Oh my goodness. Why is it so loud? Okay. Sorry, I just noticed my audio. Is audio okay? It's doing a weird thing over here in my meter as I was talking about OBS. Then I did some BS. Okay. Okay, I think it sounds good, but if the audio is weird, I'm getting some interesting clipping alerts happening in OBS suddenly and out of no. Why are you doing that? Weird. Anyway, we'll just ignore it. That's the best thing to do when a problem happens, is just ignore it and pretend that it's not happening. Sounds good to me. I don't know. Okay. That's the best thing to do. That is the best thing to do. Okay, let's see here. Excited for Insta360 Luna Ultra. Yeah, I've been seeing things people have been sharing about that and the DJI, the Pocket 4 Pro. Both seem pretty interesting. The only thing about those cameras, and I feel like the only way to know this is to use it in person, is they look a little bit bulky because they have like dual lens. It's almost like this E-Meet camera. Instead of just having like the single lens, actually it's a perfect example. This is kind of what it looks like to me in the video. So when you think of the original like Pocket, it's got one camera on a gimbal on it. And now the new ones have dual cameras kind of like this. And so it almost looks like you're kind of going from this compact, super easy to hold vloggy thing to something that's like a little bit bigger and a little bulkier. Obviously the image quality is better and the capabilities are better, but I don't know if that's like, what I don't want out of one of those types of pocket cameras is something that is now a pain in the butt to carry around. Because at that point, if I'm being inconvenienced by carrying a camera, I would just rather carry my A7 IV, my FX3, something like that. The benefit to those kind of cameras is that they are very compact and easy to carry. But it's hard to tell in videos. So I think the only way to know is to actually use it and then see what it feels like to actually have. Like, is it bulky? Is it not? That's my only concern. Image quality wise, feature wise, they both look really awesome. Andy says he has a Sigma 16 1.4 on my A-Cam. Yes, for APS-C, just so good. But having a new lens for B-roll is insane. Yes, I wanted to go full frame, but lenses are a bit on the higher end. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no. Yeah, no, yeah. That sounds like a really good APS-C setup. And you probably don't need any more than that. Thomas, great name. Love catching these lives. Love that you caught this lives as well. Pause Cuisine. Oh, you bought the Luna Ultra this week after the disastrous launch. Made a video criticizing the chaotic launch. They responded seriously. Glad they listened to customers. Yeah, especially Insta, because they made a few fumbles over the past year or two when it comes just to their marketing. The products have always been great, which is so annoying then when their like marketing does dumb things, because it's like you make good products, let them speak for themselves, and you'll have no issues. But they seem almost allergic to doing that. So I'm glad that they're handling this. And both them and DJI, this was the weirdest camera release because it's like we're kind of announcing these cameras, we're kind of not. We're sort of teasing them, we're sort of not. Here's some specs. But not really. Here's a release date, but not really. Here's some prices, but not really. Here's like people using the cameras, but they can't show you any footage of the cameras because don't you want to see cameras where you can't see the footage of it? Isn't that interesting? It's weird. Like just say, hey, we made a new camera. Here it is. And here's the price. Here's the availability. And here's a bunch of footage from it. Like that's, if you can't do that, don't release the thing yet, I think. But yeah. Low profile mic arm video was helpful and detailed. I'm happy to hear that. There's mic arms are something that you never think about until you need one, and then it's easy to feel super overwhelmed. I really want to try the new Rode low profile arm because Rode has never done a low profile arm before. Now they have one, but I haven't had it. So this one here, the Elgato low profile. This is the Wave Arm Pro, and what I like about this is that it has the pneumatic tube right here, which makes it super easy to adjust, super easy to like, just to work with. And this arm has been here over a year at this point. Like I haven't switched it out at this point, which is cool. Cody asks, can you live stream on TikTok and YouTube from within the eMeet software? Let's see. It's a good question. I can probably even show you the software on here. There's a software update that I need to install, but I haven't done that yet. Let's see if I can go here. Here's the browser, but let's switch this to eMeet. Okay, make this a little bigger. So, settings, streaming. You can change your streaming resolution. Where was the destinations thing? Status firmware remove. I thought that you could. But, oh no, live. Yeah, duh. There you go. They made it so simple. It was too complicated for me. So just right here on the main, when your cameras are connected, they'll show up not grayed out. And then down here you have live, you click that and there's everything you can stream to. I don't know that you can do, okay, if I do that, it's going to ask me to log in. Doesn't look like you can do multi-streaming to like multiple at the same time, but you can do YouTube. Oh, I don't see TikTok. Sorry, I thought it was TikTok, but it's Twitch. So, and you were asking specifically for TikTok and YouTube. Unless you could add RTMT. I could do my OnlyFans though, so got that going for me. Let's see here. Somehow Palpatine returned, as in me. All right, we got a lot of the Force happening in the chat. Awesome fun things. Now, that's a great username. Hi Tom, I've been inspired by you in many ways recently. 3D printing. I'm 2 months with the X2D. Let's go. Yeah, just yesterday actually, before when I was originally going to do the stream today with the YOLO box, I printed this really cool YOLO box stand. This is in the PLA Pure, the new filament that Bamboo has, and I put a little anti-slide thing on there, and it works great. It's not my original design, it's just one I found, but it's cool. PLA Pure. This is interesting. It comes in some sort of like, it comes in black and white and then some pastel colors, but essentially it's PLA filament that's made with only 5 ingredients. So supposedly that means it's supposed to be just kind of safer for like household things, especially if you want to print like toys for kids and stuff like that. It's just a little bit safer, which is cool. And it printed great. So that was fun. Let's see. Would you suggest the P2S or the X2D as a beginner printer? I've previously used a Flying Bear Ghost 5. I've no idea what that one is, but it was quite the hassle. I'm interested in going for Bamboo. Bamboo is so easy. Like if you want, If you want tinkering and you want total customization, you want all that kind of stuff, don't get a Bamboo printer because that's just not what they're for. But if you just want to like set something up and start printing, Bamboo's the way to go. Let's see here. Let's talk about printers. Let's pop up. Boom. There we go. And I wanted to do that because Bamboo is currently having their annual sale, which I didn't really realize this was a thing that they have. But so through July 15th, they have some good deals. The X2D, I don't believe, is on sale. But here you go. So the X2D, I fully recommend getting a combo of their printer. So that means one with the AMS. The printer itself is always cheaper. In this case, the X2D is $649 with the combo, the AMS $899. The AMS like get the AMS. If you're going to go that far into the system, go there. But for the sale right now, so the X2D is phenomenal. Like it's a great printer. Zero complaints there. But the P2S currently is only $699 for the combo. So it's $100 off on the sale. And that is, that's a pretty good deal. The biggest differences between these two, the P2S and let's jump into the X2D. They're the exact same size. The difference the big ones are that the X2D has a heated chamber. So if you're printing with things like ABS, where it needs to be in a hot environment, this has an actively heated chamber. The P2S has an enclosed chamber, but it's not heated. So it traps heat. I've printed ABS on my P2S completely. I've literally never had a problem printing ABS on it, but I don't print a lot of ABS. So if your workflow is going to be like 70% or more of ABS, I would recommend then getting the X2D that has a heated chamber because then you really won't have to worry about it. If you're primarily doing PLA, PETG, and then you're going to do a little bit of ABS here and there, the heating of the P2S is fine. The other big difference, as I'm sure you know, I'm just kind of sharing this in case someone's watching and they don't know, is the X2D has a dual nozzle. So it has the classic Bamboo direct drive, like really cool tool head. And then it has a secondary nozzle that's connected to a more old school Bowden style extruder on the back. And it works great. And it's a little funky. It's a little more tinkery. It can print PLA just fine. So if you want to do like two color things with PLA, I've done some PETG with it. The thing I primarily use the second nozzle for is support material. And I think that's really what Bamboo kind of was intending for it. And that's really nice. So you have your print happening on the main nozzle, and then you have support material being printed on the second one, and that speeds things up. And also lets you use separate materials, because Bamboo does have like, because sometimes depending on what you're printing, you might want different materials. So Bamboo has, if we go into filament, they have support filament, which basically just means it's filament that's designed to not be super adhesive. And that just means when you have your supports, they break away super cleanly. And the second nozzle works really, really well for those. But the P2S, especially at this price, $700, this is insane for the combo. It's $499 if you just want the printer. $500 gets you a P2S. This is just such a simple, it's just such a simple workhorse printer. It's easy. You don't have to do it. You never have to worry about anything. I don't know. It's funny. The X2D is a more capable printer, and when they're only $100 apart like normal, it is hard not to just say, just go for the X2D. Just why not? $200, I think, is a big enough difference where you really should look at your needs. And if you don't have a specific need for the X2D, I do still really like the P2S personally quite a bit. Now, but hopping over here. Hey, Kim, what's up? Surprise Saturday morning stream. Yeah, I haven't streamed on the weekend in forever, so I figured why not? Normally I put out like a 3D printing related video on the weekend, but this has been such an insanely busy week. I didn't have time to make one this week. So I figured, I could do a stream. Because what I don't like to do is do a stream the same day I put out a video, because it just seems, I feel like YouTube doesn't like that. Can you do more videos with the pointer hand, please? Oh, yes. the pointer hand is the best. I don't know, what is it, $6? You get like multi-packs of these. They're great too, because then instead of having like, when you have a close-up of something, instead of having like sausage fingers pointing at you, just have this little thing, and it's a little nicer if your cuticles aren't up for it. Sounds like DJI is suing Insta at the moment. Yeah, I heard about that. For, like, it was like copyright infringement, not copyright, patent infringement. I don't know. Those two companies do not like each other. I mean, ultimately, though, them not liking each other benefits us because they want to keep outdoing each other, and then we end up with better products. Ryukin mostly films videos with a back camera on my phone. Yep. But when he's a front camera and look at the screen, it looks weird. Yeah, pretty much with every phone, the rear cameras are the higher end ones than the front camera, which makes sense because the front camera, it has to be the small thing embedded in the screen, whereas the back camera, it can be bigger. In a lot of cases on phones, they are sticking way out like a camera lens. So you got bigger sensors, you got better lenses, better optics in the back camera. And I don't know if this is what you meant, but when you are looking at the screen, when you're looking at the back camera, it's easy to focus on the lens, and then you're looking right at the camera like I'm doing right now. But when you look at the screen, it's easy to then look instead at yourself. And so then you're looking kind of off to the side. You're not looking directly at the camera, which can sometimes look a little bit awkward. Kim needs to update the eMeet. I think they've done like 2 software updates this week because I just updated on Thursday, and when I opened it right now, it said there's another update. So there we go. Don't know if you ever made a video on this, but for footage, do you keep hard drives or do you have a NAS? I made a video about this a long time ago, but I haven't made one since we got our NAS like 5 years ago. And it's just because it's not my area of expertise, and I'm happy to share what we have, but I'm not the person to answer like the super technical questions about it. For a long time, I was just using a lot of Samsung T5, T7 drives, SSDs, and they're great. And that's probably still the easiest way to go, except that they're all expensive now. It used to be like spend $100, get a terabyte or 2, and you're good to go. Not the case anymore. But we got a NAS 5 years ago, which has, I believe, 48 terabytes. And what I use that for, in theory, if you have your NAS connected like via Ethernet and you're connected via Ethernet on your computer, it should just be as fast as an internal drive. Like you should be able to edit off of it, transfer stuff super quickly. We don't have Ethernet like throughout our house here. So our NAS is connected through Ethernet, but everything connects to it through Wi-Fi, which is slower. So I don't edit off of it or anything like that, but we do back up all of our stuff. Both Heather and I back up all of our videos and footage and stuff there. And it works great. It's really nice. I don't back up the talking head portions of my videos because that's usually like, I have 2 or 3 cameras going. It's 40 plus minutes of me talking. Each thing is like 20 to 30 gigabytes. So that's ends up being almost 100 gigs of just me talking that I'll never use again. So I usually delete that and then keep all the B-roll and stuff that I film. And then of course I keep the finished things and the thumbnails and other, photos and stuff on there. So I use it for archiving and backup. We have the Synology DS920, which was significantly easier to set up than I expected it to be because I'm always intimidated by network stuff. And that was 5 years ago. So I think they might even be better now. And I know Ugreen, the company, I have a lot of their like power adapters and stuff. They came out with a NAS recently that's supposed to be ultra simple. So I haven't used it. I'm curious about it though. Have you ever considered getting another Prusa printer? Honestly, no, which feels weird because Prusa was like, when I started 3D printing, I started with a monoprice printer, with a couple of monoprice printers, and I wanted a Prusa, and this was back in 2016. I ordered the MK2, which at that time had like a 4 to 6 month like wait. You couldn't just like order a printer and get it. And so I waited, got my MK2, and it was fantastic, and I loved it. It was like such a cool printer, especially at the time. And then in 2019, I got the Prusa Mini, which I still have. And other than the power supply not being great, the printer prints great and still works well. But I haven't really kept up with any of their newer stuff because in the time from 2019 to 2025, when I got my Bamboo, I had a lot of friends get Bamboo printers. And my brother-in-law got a bamboo printer, and I got 3 bamboo printers. And it was like every time they showed me their prints, it didn't even look like 3D prints to me. Like it blew my mind. And so it just was kind of in my head, when I get a new printer, I want to get one of those bamboo printers. And that's just when my Prusa, the power supply is replaceable, fixable, whatever, but it was also a really good excuse to just, oh no, I need a new printer. So that's what I did. So, never say never. It's not like I would never buy a Prusa printer, but my bamboos are so good and I have no need for any more printers at the moment. So there we go. Pause just oiled the P2S today. Have you lubricated the H2C? Is maintenance more complicated than with cheaper models? By the way, I tried the DJI 4 Pro in store and its firmware seems really rushed and clunky. Oh, wow. Interesting about the firmware, especially for DJI. They're usually better about that. Curious, though, did it feel bulky? That's what I want to know. And for the H2C, I actually did just do, I think the first round of maintenance the other day. It gave me all the alerts. The lubrication's exactly the same. It didn't have me do anything on the vortex system, which is all the nozzle changing. So it was no different than the other ones, honestly. It's easy. And it tells you exactly what to do. Like the bamboo wikis and knowledge bases are really, really good. Can't wait to see what you do with that new PLA Pure. Yeah, I think I'm thinking of doing a video on it just because it's interesting. I don't know, it's interesting. And it seems to print really, really well. So I think I have this exact same color in impure filament. So I'd love to do like a side-by-side comparison print. So far, so good though. And especially, not that you would, I don't know, if you're printing toys for little kids, they're going to put them in their mouths. I guess having something that is as non-toxic as possible, probably good. Gil has a P2S, does everything I need it to do. And yeah, it's so little like maintenance and stuff. It's great. Cheater 00. Hey Tom, question about mic cables. I have an SM7B and a TAC55 with inline preamps, cloud lifter and a FET head. Recently got into outboard, bought a couple DBX 286s and some Behringer stuff. It really heats up the room. Wow. It's like my PC, I want to put it in the other room. To do that, the XLR cables need to be about 15 meters long. Given the inline preamps are right at the mics, will I be fine? Oh, that's interesting. I've run long XLR cables before with no issues. I don't know that I've ever done it with preamps, though. It should be fine. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you have issues with it, just switch it and put the preamps at the DBX. And then that way, the thing that's sending the power, it's like right there and there's no distance to travel. But it should be fine. And this is sort of the other thing. Can I buy cheap XLR cables? I would say no. Because I have bought short, cheap XLR cables on Amazon, and they seem okay at first, but literally all of them eventually failed within a year or so. Just they get loose, they start crackling. They're also super prone to interference, and if you're running that cable a long way, it could be going near outlets, near devices, near all kinds of stuff. So you want something that's not going to be super prone to interference. I really like Rhodes XLR cables. That's what I'm using right now. That's what I've used for ages. They're not the most expensive XLR cables, but they are high quality cables. I haven't had issues with interference. I've never had a Rode XLR cable fail. They come in super cool colors. They might not come in the length that you need though. I think, that's a good point. They have a 3-meter option. And I forget what the other one is. Why is this not telling me? Oh, they have a 20-foot and a 10-foot. Yeah. Now the other thing, this is one that I don't have, but much like bamboo printers, through the recommendation of friends I've become aware of, is World's Best Cables. I don't know if they're the best cables in the world, but I've never heard anyone complain about these. And they do have, I don't know what their length options are, but, these aren't XLR. Anyway, I would look into if the Rode ones aren't enough. These are a little more expensive. If the Rode cables aren't long enough for you, I would then look into World's Best cables because they, I think they're at least some of the best cables in the world. Lewis saying if you plan to print ABS, ASA, you might as well look more in the XCD. Exactly. Oh, Paul has the Ugreen NOS and super easy to set up. Yeah, reliability is very important, obviously, with those things, but setting them up, especially if you're dealing with multiple drives and there's all these different ways. Do you want RAID 4 or whatever? It's like, I don't know. It's tricky. Is that the Ethos or the Icon? This is the Ethos, which I do prefer over the Icon. Although, funny enough, I'm actually using the windscreen pop filter from the Icon because then my SM7B windscreens fit on it better. So the Ethos normally has like its own little fuzzy windscreen, but I wanted color. So yeah, but this is the Ethos. I did a thing this was like over a year ago. I did a whole podcast season of episodes where every episode I used a different microphone, did topics about whatever the episode was about. And then at the end of the season, I had people vote on which one. I played little sound clips and had people vote on which microphone sounded best. And this was the one that won. So out of the 10 microphones that I did that season for entire episodes, not just little sound clips, but that I used for entire hour-plus long episodes, this was the one that overwhelmingly won as being the one that sounded the best, at least on my voice. I usually have my SM7B here, which I really like, but... okay, actually, this is a niche problem, and I'm just realizing what it is. A lot of times what I'm doing here, especially at night and stuff, is I'm playing games with friends online. And when I'm playing games, my computer fans spin up really loud. The Rodecaster Duo has a noise gate on it. It works great. But I've noticed that when the fan noise becomes a little too noticeable because the SM7B, because of the mic has to have the gain turned up so high. So I wanted to try using a condenser microphone on this setup instead, just to see if since I need lower gain, it would be quieter, and it is. For now, it doesn't matter, because even though I'm streaming, the computer's pretty quiet. Like, it is not disturbingly loud at all. But when I play games and stuff, then it's a different story. Cheaters' computers all hooked up via fiber optic cables. Dang, that's cool. If you're going that far, definitely don't get the cheap the cheap Amazon cables. XLR cannot have interference. Symmetric XLRs. I don't know what a symmetric XLR is. I just know my cheap Amazon cables, if they run next to a power thing, they would have not fun sounds happening. Cheaters worried about the phantom power more than noise pickup from the EG USB cables. I would just experiment, but my thing would just be, it should be fine. And if it's not, just put the preamp on the DBX instead of on the mic and just see. There we go. Is it just me who prefers filming 16:9 over 9:16? Basically horizontal versus vertical. I mean, I definitely prefer horizontal over vertical. I don't know if that's just an old school thing or whatever. But what I will say, something that's not that fun is if you're going to do vertical content and you know, like I were to take this stream and then try to cut it into vertical. I can do that, but it's like, this is why people want open gate on their cameras and stuff, right? Is so that they can reframe things and you can film one thing that can be easily reframed for vertical and horizontal. But I have actually had a ton of fun filming vertical with the intention of it being vertical, not trying to crop into a horizontal thing. But when you have, especially not just a phone, but like I take one of my Sony cameras or even this EOS R and have it, you know, in vertical orientation and film with that kind of framing, then I start having a lot of fun because it's such a different way of framing things. And it's just interesting. I did see a thing recently, and it was that a lot of people, especially like younger people who have grown up with vertical video and short form content, there's sort of like a mannerism thing where everyone kind of talks like this. Like people don't like gesticulate broadly anymore, or even if people are dancing, like the dance moves they come up with are very contained because they want to be in the vertical box versus being, and it's like, oh, that's strange. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But yeah, let me see if I can grab something real quick. Yeah, this was a thing that was really fun. My EOS R has kind of lived here for a while because I like using it, for this setup here because it's a good looking camera and it works great. But for a while, I was using it for doing a lot of mic'd up like hockey videos, and I was doing most of those vertically. And so I had it in this cage, and then I have this quick release here for one of my iFootage monopods. And so it was really cool because I could vertically just quick release the camera. Like, here's the camera vertically. It's right in there. I had this monopod, which gives, nice steady shots, especially for sports tracking with a zoom lens. It worked really well. But then if I needed to take it out or do something horizontal or take photos or whatever, it was like a nice, cool, quick release. So this is a super cool setup. I could put this on any of my other cameras things, but shooting vertical with the intention of it being vertical is the way to go. If you shoot horizontal and then you just try to reframe it and crop it, that's where I feel like it gets frustrating, and you can do it sometimes, and it can even sometimes be a fun project, like a fun puzzle to, can I make this video look good? Or if something is too wide, how do you add elements and, split the screen and stack them and stuff? Like, this can be kind of fun challenges to figure out, but shooting vertical with the intention of being vertical, I've actually enjoyed that more than I would have expected. Yeah. Love your videos too. Semper. Let's go. You hook up drives and it automatically shares them on SMB. That's all it does. Oh, I think we were talking about a different thing. I've used World's Best Cables for 10 years. Excellent. Funny enough, their address is the same as my P.O. box. I'm always wondering if they're my name. Oh, that's crazy. That is like, what's crazy? That reminds me, like, back in 2017, I was booking a trip to Iceland. I saw this really cool thing. It was like it was through like National Geographic. They have these really cool like travel things. And I was like, I want to go do like photos and videos. And so it's like small tour groups, all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to book the thing. And I got confused. I forget the order that things happened. So I filled out the form, like sent the thing in or whatever, and it got sent back to me. And the guy was like, hey, Tom, great name. And I looked at his name, and the random guy who got assigned to like be my, I don't know, travel agent booker or whatever, was named Tom Buck, but he lived on the East Coast of the US. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. But then I think because my name was in their anyway, I kind of got pulled into like some of their like work email circles, and I was like, wait, it's the wrong Tom. And then coworkers and other people I was like emailing questions for, because I booked the trip like a year in advance. So I was communicating with these people like frequently, well, not frequently, but several times throughout that year, and they would get really confused because they get an email from Tom Buck thinking it's their coworker, but asking questions like he didn't have any idea what was going on. That was super weird. And then when I was right out of high school, I worked at a video store, like a video rental store, when those were things that existed. And so when people come in to sign up for accounts, we had to take their driver's license and a credit card, and that's what we used to create an account. And this one guy came in one day, and I was like, oh, yeah, can I have your ID and stuff? And I had his ID there, and I was typing in the name, and I got so confused. So I was like, oh, I think I took my ID because his name was Thomas Buck. And I was like, this is so strange. I was like, but it took me a moment because I was like, the photo's not me, but the name is mine. And the middle name was actually my grandpa's middle name, who was also named Tom Buck. So it was like super weird. Just total coincidence. Yeah, just a total coincidence. But anyway, that was my tangent after World's Best Cables. What software are you using to do the live stream? I'm currently using OBS right now, and then the comments are being popped up with Aaron Parecki's live chat overlay, which is a free Chrome plugin that works really, really well. Normally, if I'm on my Mac, I definitely like Ecamm. If all things being equal and there's like, what streaming software do you want to use, it's Ecamm. I was originally planning to do today's stream using my YOLO box, but then our network, speaking of network stuff, I tested everything out yesterday, looked amazing, had it all set up, and then did not work today. The network didn't like it. Paws always loved the vibrant, cool mic foam colors. It's weird. I can't find anything close in China, considering most things are made there these days. The factories I found only accept bulk orders. That is kind of funny. These ones are from reporterstore.com, which is based in Europe, and maybe they manufacture them over there. I'm not sure. Sure. So I live in the US and I order them from Europe when I order, I have a ton of these, but shipping can sometimes take a little bit of time and be a little bit expensive. So normally what I do is I wait until there's several that I want to get, because the prices are cheap. They're like $20. They're not crazy expensive. So I get, 3 or 4 of them and then have those shipped. And that's what I do. There's also, you can go to docpops.com, which is it's actually a friend of mine who, kind of makes more custom mic colors in very, very vibrant colors. And he spent, I don't know, the better part of a year, like actually doing like custom molding, manufacturing, all this stuff. He is using somewhere based overseas, but I don't know where, but maybe shipping would be easier for you. So it's docpopps.com. And these, my main ones are from Reporter Store. How do you print ABS material, as I know it releases toxic fumes? If you have it located next to a wall, would it be harmful? Basically, as far as I know, could be wrong, the most dangerous thing about ABS is that it's not just the fumes, but it's the little tiny particles that then go in and are bad to inhale. So, if there's a printer printing ABS and you walk in the room with it, you don't just like instantly die or anything, but you don't want to be hanging out in there for a long time, especially if there's no ventilation and you're not wearing any protection or anything. So in general, with ABS, it's a very good idea to have good ventilation, windows, fans. There are like air purifiers you can place next to printers, especially if they have activated carbon, it will absorb those little particulates. If you're doing a lot of ABS, people get like serious ventilation things where it's like a tube that goes to the back of the printer, and then it either can go into a chamber or usually out a window, and it will just vent into the outdoors, where it then is like dissipates enough to not be harmful. So if you're doing a lot of ABS, that's the way to go. If you're doing ABS sometimes, like I do ABS, man, I don't know, 2% of my prints are in ABS. Like it's not common. It's if I really specifically need ABS, that's what I'll use. So I don't have like a dedicated ventilation setup, but I do have dedicated air conditioning, central air, a ceiling fan, a window, and an air purifier, just a standalone air purifier, in addition to the printer's built-in, filters and stuff where the printers are. So I make sure all of those things are running when the printer's doing ABS, and then everybody just stays out of the room. No one goes in there until the printer's done, and that works well. So there we go. I think one of my messages got blocked. That's why it made no sense. Oh, maybe. Maybe YouTube is, I don't understand. When I go into my like blocked messages folder, it's pretty rare that it's actually like somebody dropping like the F-bomb or something. It's usually just like totally benign messages, but I do have my channel's moderation set to strict. So I don't know what YouTube thinks is offensive or whatever about things that it blocks or restricts. But as one person trying to manage all that stuff, it works for the most part. Sorry if I already explained it. No worries, and I didn't. No problem. What do you think about standing desks? Are they necessary or not? I think they're awesome. I have my like table that I use for a lot of videos is a old school crank desk that can go up or down. Well, it's a workbench actually. And I like that. So sometimes I film videos where I'm standing behind it. Sometimes I film videos where I'm sitting behind it. It just sort of depends. That one specifically, I didn't want to get an automatic one because I move it around a lot, and I didn't want to have a power cord, like an umbilical cord attached to it. And my desk that I'm using here is the Husky. Is this frozen? Hi. Okay. My NDI gave out, I guess. This is my, whoa, is everything freezing? What happened? My audio seems to still be going, but my camera froze. I've never had this camera freeze. We're back. That was weird. I've never had this camera freeze. Maybe NDI is doing something weird. Or maybe it's the same network thing that was plaguing the YOLO box is now creeping in over here. What I was saying is my desk here is a Husky workbench from Home Depot. I really like it. And it's super sturdy and it's big enough and I like it. If I didn't have this and I was getting a brand new desk or building a brand new workstation, I think I would like to go for an automatic sit-stand desk, especially the ones you just have the presets and stuff. The part that seems tricky about those is making sure your cables have enough slack to like extend and whatever without also then being a huge mess. But I think they're really cool. And I have definitely found the times I've used like standing desks or workstations, it's nice. Like if you're sitting down all day working, it's nice to just be able to stand up. I know people have like walking pads and balancing pads and stuff, which I think is very, very cool. If you're at your desk, at your computer all day, it works out really well. I thought this was StreamYard with the pop-ups. Yeah, StreamYard, it does kind of look like the StreamYard pop-ups. You can customize it, so the colors and the fonts and stuff I chose, but it's a free Chrome plugin. I have a video about it from a month or two ago. What are your actual feelings on the X2D? I really like it. I really like the X2D. I'm not when I make a video and then people send messages and they're like, "What do you really think about that thing?" I promise the thing I really think is the thing that's in the video. The X2D is fantastic. I love it. I think a lot of people who buy it don't need it, which is fine. Like, who cares, right? If you don't. I have the Sony FX3, and I know I don't use that camera to its fullest potential, but I really like the way that it looks, and it makes me happy, so who cares? Like, that's completely fine. But, you know, like, people really like to kind of eke out, like, it's kind of, I can't really think of it, but it's like going for maximum efficiency of, like, what is the best dollar to feature value ratio? The X2D crushes it. Like, what you get in that printer for the price, even when it's not on sale, is kind of unmatched. But it works great. But so many people, and I've seen this, I've watched other X2D reviews where people are like, "Oh, I'm going to buy that even though I don't think I'll need any of that stuff." And I know it's oftentimes better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And if you're just starting out with 3D printing, maybe you don't know where you're going to go. And so you currently don't need a heated chamber. You don't need dual nozzles, but you know, you never know, in 3-4 months, you want to print with different materials, you want to experiment with that stuff, your workflow, which just kind of makes sense. And it's nice to be able to have those features and that functionality. But it is, for someone who has experience with 3D printing, it's great. Like, yeah, I guess maybe that's the differentiating factor. If you have experience with 3D printing, or you don't mind kind of diving in and like spending a little time learning how things work, specifically the Bowden extruder and how that works, why that works the way it does, how you load and unload filament, and the different ways that it works. If you already are familiar with that stuff, or you don't mind learning new things like that, then the X2D is great. If you're brand new to 3D printing, you're feeling intimidated by it, you're wanting to spend, you know, you want the best printer you can get, but you want to spend the least amount of money, that's where the P2S is just like, it's so solid. And it's just such a, I don't know, worry-free printer, I guess. That's why I nudge people to that, especially now that it's currently on sale for $200 less than the X2D. I think that's a really good deal. But the X2D as a printer, absolutely fantastic. It does literally everything they said it would do, and it's probably the best overall printer value you can get. But if you don't need those things, it doesn't really matter, right? Like if you know, it's like when someone's building a PC, you like, here's actually kind of a great example. I got my PC last year. It was given to me. It was donated. It's a custom built one that someone built, 6 years ago and then gave to me. I did some minor upgrades on it, but I was looking to build my own custom PC because I wanted to do some gaming, some streaming, not crazy intense games or anything, not 4K gaming or anything, but that's kind of what I was looking at. Okay, got this. It worked really well. Then we wanted to get a PC for my wife, and it was sort of the same thing. Like every bit of advice we were getting was like, and this was before the prices ballooned on everything, but it was, get these crazy advanced GPUs, get the fastest processor, get a bajillion gigabytes of RAM. And it's like, that is going to be the most capable, most powerful computer. She would be able to use that computer to do any kind of gaming she needs and never have to think about it. But it was also like, what we ended up doing, honestly, was just getting I think it's an Asus laptop on Black Friday from Walmart. It was $500 and it's great. It literally plays all the games that we need to play or that we like to play together and with our friends and stuff. Works awesome. It was $500, easy. Even I ordered it on Black Friday. I didn't want to go to Walmart, so we even got it delivered in like 30 minutes or something. It was very convenient, and it works great. Nobody would recommend that computer. If you were like, "Hey, I want to play these games. I want to do this." Literally, no one would recommend that, but it's the way to go. And so I think that happens with 3D printing, where sometimes it's like, oh, all the features, you need all the features, you need all the power, and they're great if you're going to use them. But if you're not actually going to use those things, it doesn't matter. Like if you do videos in 1080 and you do streams in 1080, you don't really need to worry about a 4K workflow. Like you don't need to optimize for 4K if that's something you never plan to use. So it really comes down to you and what you're using, and everybody's needs, everybody's preferences, budgets, workflows, all that stuff are very, very different. So take the advice that everybody gives you, myself included, but stick to what you need, and don't, just because someone gave you a piece of advice, don't feel like you're committed to that piece of advice, I guess, if that makes sense. Diesel got a new lens, interested in trying it out. Canon 22.8. That's fun. Last lens I bought was a Tamron 70-200. I love a good 70-200, but your 20, a friend of mine gave me an older Sigma 20 millimeter 1.4, which is crazy. And I've been using that on a lot of videos, just adapted to my FX3. 20 millimeters is such a fun focal length. I think you're really going to like that. LT Dill, Lieutenant Dill says, I use a server rack for cable management underneath my standing desk. Smart. Dual PC setup, and even got my racing wheel cable managed. Dang. Oh, here we go. Here's Heather. She's, vouching. Love my PC laptop, money worth. Yeah. Because it was like, and then there's nothing to think about. There's no building, there's no components, there's no tinkering. Especially her, she just uses it for gaming. So it's like, it just sits off to the side of her desk. She does her work, her streams, all her stuff on her desk. And then if she wants to play a game, just bring her laptop, open it up. Good. Easy. What was your chase camera when you were young? Oh, yeah. XL1S, baby. I had actually it was the XL1. This is the XL1S, which I did not get until several years ago. Yeah, that it was that camera. I had a printed out inkjet picture of it on my bulletin board in my room throughout high school. I think it was $3,000 or $4,000, closer to $4,000, I think, which, like, keep in mind, it's like 1998, 1999, around then. That just seemed like an impossible, I mean, today that's still kind of an insane amount of money, but especially at that point, I was like, that's impossible. Like, I can manage piecing together, money saved over a year or two as a high school kid and get like a Sony Handycam or something. But the XL1 it was just like such a dream. And then I love I love like the GL1, the GL2, the VX1000, like all those are really cool. But this one just seemed like the most legit option, and I wanted it so bad. And then, I got one on eBay a couple years ago for great condition for like $300. And then someone who watches the channel actually reached out and said they have they happen to live nearby, and they had one that they had just been in a closet for like 15 years. And they were like, hey, if you want it, I want to clean out my closet. I was like, sure, I'll take it. So now I have two. But that was my camera. That was my chase camera for sure. Oh, you did the same thing. Sorry, I missed the eBay part. Yeah, and both of mine are in great working condition. The only bummer, I think this is the second. No, this is the one I got, which is kind of funny because it has a sticker on the back. It came from Georgia State University because it says your tech fee at work. So I don't know if they were like supposed to sell this or not. But the only thing that's a bummer is the soft like rubber coating is getting a little bit sticky on it, which, like, God, I hate that soft touch coating because it just, it starts to get funky. I've actually wiped some of it off on the handle because the handle was sticky from it. So this feels good, but now I'm noticing it's getting stickier here. And same with the other one that I was given. It kind of had that sticky feel as well. It's the only downside. Otherwise, they work great. Scott White says, curious, just found your page, wonderful content. Do you do one-on-one consultations? I'm just starting an audio video journey. I'm not starting from zero as I'm in post-production. I do, but they're limited. So I can show you if you're interested in checking that out. You can go to my website, HiMyNameIsTom.com, and there's a thing up here that says office hours. And then like in June, I have 1 day available, so it's not. They're pretty limited times, and then also, the kind of the things we go through. So I used to do one-on-one consultations a number of years ago, and it got really tricky because it was getting really in the weeds with like tech support, and I was trying to like help people set things up virtually, and they're like putting cameras behind the computer and getting behind a wall, and I'm trying to which cable to connect where, and they're on the other side of the world, and it's sort of difficult, and that was very stressful. And I was trying to set up like crazy multicam setups. So it's like, okay, you have your thing here, I've got my thing here, and it was just like too much. And I don't know that it was as beneficial as I wanted it to be. So the things that I now focus on when I do my one-to-one things are much more like, I would say like much, simplifying your workflow. Like we can talk through it. You can show me a couple things. We can talk about setups. We can talk about, how you might want to. It's almost like the chats that we're having here, but instead of, a whole group of people chatting and it's all via text on your end, it's one-on-one, video, voice, real time, that kind of thing. We can even talk about a bit of YouTube stuff, general creator things. I think it's important to have a specific thing. Like if someone books a session and they're like, I want to set up a studio, what do I do? Like we're only going to get so far in an hour. But if if you have a specific question about a part of your workflow, about a piece of gear, about a strategy you're thinking about, that's when I think it's the most beneficial. But that format also doesn't work for everybody. So it works for some people, it doesn't work for others. This page is updated. The available hours are updated at the beginning of every month. So that's they're just pretty limited. I wish I had like all the time in the world, then I could just do more things all the time. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. Michael, what's up? How are you? I am good. Shooting on Sony a7S III and with a Rode mic, can I safely monitor the audio without using headphones? Yes, so the headphone output in the Sony cameras, or in pretty much every camera, is not great. So you're not going to sometimes it's hard to even hear through the headphones, but at least you can hear a basic. Depending on the Rode mic you're using, the mic itself might have a headphone output. That's always very helpful. And of course, the camera has its built-in speaker that you can play back. So what I've done in that case is I've gotten to make sure I understand my camera's audio meters, and I kind of know where the gain needs to be set for specific microphones, the camera's gain, where the gain on those microphones need to be set, and then what that looks like on the camera's audio meters. So when I have everything turned on, the mic's going, the camera's going, and I see the audio meter going, I know that the level should be good because I've tested it and done it many, many times. So then what I do is I record a clip, play back, even if I just have to hold the camera up and listen to the speaker. What I'm listening for then is not so much the audio quality, because that speaker's not going to give it. What I'm listening for then is the is it actually recording? Is there a weird interference? Is there distortion? Is there, something cutting out or whatever? And then it's pretty good. So once if you have a setup that you're very familiar with, the camera, the microphone, and the settings for each, then you can use the audio meters to just kind of prove that it's working. But for something really important, if that's just a casual video that you're out filming, having fun, it's okay. If you're doing a client project, you're doing something that you can't reshoot, you can't redo, then I think having some way to monitor your audio is very important, or to be able to use that's using the recorders that have 32-bit float internal is nice, because that way you're good. Yes. To get rid of this stuff, I've just done a lot of rubbing alcohol. I wish there was a really easy way to do that. I had to do that with my Zoom H4, old cameras. It's every time I get anything new that has this soft touch feeling on it, I'm always just oh, that's going to be a pain in the butt in a few years. I know it. The mini DV camera from iCarly. Yes, that is the XL1. What is the cheapest used camera that'll make things look proper for a conference, press release, politics? I'm fine with SDI and I have great lighting. I want to capture live 4K 30. Used. Let's see. So there's a few places to go use. mpb.com is a good one. So for doing press conferences and things, though, I'm wondering, do they have options? I'm almost leaning towards like a camcorder. Because that's for events and things. So something like the Canon XA series is pretty darn good. I've used these a lot for events. I forget which ones are 1080 and which ones are 4K. So anyway, mpb.com is good. I have bought and sold gear here personally many, many times. Never had any issues. They're great. Something like this, the Canon XAs, some of these are 1080 only, some of them are 4K. Oh, this one is HD. The other option, though, is I like B&H's used store. They have some good options. We can go to video, camcorders and cameras. Let's go to camcorders. And video resolution, 4K. And let's sort by price, low to high. Okay. Here's a Canon. I don't know if I've ever used the Vixia. It's the $1,000 XA45. I've used these. What is this new though? I feel like the XA45 isn't that much more expensive new. The thing with B&H though, when you're getting used, they say the condition here and it says moderate wear. For MPB, they say the condition, and then if this is excellent, but if it has a specific thing, like it has a scratch or a crack or whatever, they usually show it. And the product listing, like the thing we're seeing right now, if you were to order this camcorder, this is the exact one you would get. So you can see what your thing looks like. Whereas B&H, the one downside is they're using just the standard stock photos. But let me see, Canon XA45, what is the new price of that? It's like the same. Oh no, that's used. Oh shoot. That's a great used price then. And let's see, like Sony 4K camcorder. Sony has some fun options. Yeah, so used. It's going to be hard for something that's going to look proper like that. You know, like you can, you could grab a $200 YOLO cam and just set it up close to the person, and it is what it is. But if you're doing something, you're mentioning politics, you're mentioning press conferences, stuff like that, that's a little more like journalistic, a little more professional. I would be hesitant to kind of like jerry rig something like that. I would want something that's a little more reliable if I were doing that. And so I would recommend some type of camcorder setup. And it'd be tough to get one for under $1,000. It seems like used for 4K, maybe around the $1,500 range. And the reason camcorders are nice because they have great built-in audio. They don't overheat. They have the super versatile like built-in zoom lenses, which usually go pretty wide, usually zoom in really far. They have full-size HDMI out most of the time, SDI out often, not always, but often. They're just really versatile. So they're not going to have like the same cinema quality of like a Sony FX series camera or something, but they're going to look, that's what is being used. That type of thing, an ENG camera, a camcorder, a professional type thing like that is what's being used, the vast majority of times. You see that stuff on actual TV and stuff. The True Torsten says, love your videos. The 3D printing ones helped a lot. I'm super happy to hear that. Sorry I didn't have a 3D printing one today. What mic am I using today? This is the Earthworks Ethos. It's an awesome microphone. It's the same price as the SM7B. Actually, now it's a little bit cheaper. It's like, because it's $399. SM7B is now like $429. They raised it a little bit. What's cool about this is it does come with this triad orbit mount here. So it has like a very strong ball mount, which makes it easy to position. And then it's also just a very cool, normally it has a black windscreen on it. It's a cool industrial, silver sleek design, and it's a condenser microphone. So it's an end address condenser microphone. It's a little bit uncommon. And it's cool because as a condenser microphone, it doesn't need as much gain as something like the SM7B. It also doesn't, and it will work with any interface, any mixer, as long as it has phantom power, which basically all of them do. And I have described this many times, and I've had other people tell me this. At least on my voice, maybe it's not the same for everybody. This is the least fatiguing microphone that I have. So, most microphones can be made to sound good for short snippets, even, regular like YouTube videos. But if you're doing a podcast, a stream, something that's going on an hour, 2 hours or more, you really don't want something that's going to start grating on someone as they're listening. And this one is just like, especially without really any processing or anything, is just kind of the easiest one to listen to. It's a great one. Mostly concerned with camcorder, camera, and lens. This is why I like camcorders, because you don't have to worry about the lenses. A lot of them also have built-in ND filters and stuff too, which is cool. So I think that's the way. I definitely think that's the way to go, is with a camcorder for that workflow. It's gonna be easy. I've used them a ton for things like a lot of educational events. So things like graduations, pep rallies, football games, basketball games, daily news broadcast, daily like school news broadcasts and stuff. They always work just so well. Literally never had an issue. And that's when something works well being put through the gauntlet of being used by high school students. I feel like that's a very good seal of approval, because if something's going to fail or get messed up, they're going to find a way to do it. So if something holds up in that environment, I think it's a good one. Alrighty. I think that's about where we're going to wrap it up for today. Appreciate everyone being here again. If you got bombarded by a few notifications because I was trying to get a different stream going like 6 times this morning, apologies for that, but appreciate you being here for this stream. It's been fun. If you're watching the replay or whatever, let me know what you think of. I guess watching the replay doesn't matter, but curious to know, just for people who watch streams, like if you prefer weekday, weekend, morning. I'm on Pacific Standard Time, but if you're morning, evening, that kind of thing. There we go. So that's where we're going to head out as we say congrats to Rocco Mack on the X2D. Hope you enjoy that. And also, happy birthday to Ryukin. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a safe, happy, healthy rest of your weekend. Enjoy. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I'll see you next time.